Our next speaker is Shri Vinay Varanasi. He is going to speak on the topic Exploring the Connections, Valmiki's Rama and Vyasa's Krishna. Shri Vinay is a keen practitioner of sanatandharma. Based on his research and fascination, he has been exploring and presenting different Indic works in a unique format. He believes Puranas have stories and symbolism of great relevance to each of us. Here, he uses the power of storytelling to highlight different aspects of dharma with musicians. Individually, he has given talks on different forms of Devi, Shankaracharya, Nada Yoga, and so on. He has given talks, collaborated with musicians, and conceptualized thematic productions focusing on intersection of music and spirituality. He has worked with musicians such as Ramakrishnan Murthy, Vivek Sadasivam, Sumesh Narayanan, and so on. And he has also worked with organizations such as Alapa, etc. His college is tuned and sung by musicians such as he has co-translated the kritis of Yogi Narayana of Kaivara. The confluence of Sangeeta, Sahitya and Sanatandharma are seen in his talks and collaborations. Vinay's fascination for watercolors made by training and is currently working in environmental sector. Shri Vinay Varanasi.
Namaskaram. Deep gratitude to Anupamaka for believing me to be capable enough to share thoughts with you, especially in the midst of other speakers. I tried to escape when Pankaji was speaking, but I was sitting in a place that was a little too difficult, so here I am. I wanted to explore something very close to my heart today, which is the idea between, or almost a conversation, if I can say, between two rishis who left us with such phenomenal work that any part of their work can be picked up and it is a volume in itself. My personal problem with the interpretations of these rishis' works is that these interpretations, to some level, I believe, dumb them down. But the Ramayana and the Bharatam have not survived just because they are great pieces of literary work. Because if you look at the idea of poetry, prose, arts, all of these are beautiful, but these are functions of the mind. And there is a beautiful verse that says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Paramatma or Paratattva cannot be captured by speech or by the mind, because these are finite and Paramatma is infinite. So if one has to communicate or one has to be able to express something about the infinite, one has to experience that state of infinity. So that is the I would say foundation brick where I really wanted to begin in terms of, even before we look at Valmiki's Rama and Vyasa's Krishna, how do we look at Valmiki and Vyasa? Do we look at them as just kavis? What is the language that we use when we address them? When we understand the reverence that is required for them, then we will be able to understand how they approach the works. As Pankaji said, very beautifully put it, it's not about learning about the text, it's learning from the text. And these are two people who have left us with texts that can become lighthouses in our own journeys. So if you look at catching Rama and Krishna, there are three avatars of Paramatma that are believed to be Purna avatars. They're not believed to be, they are Purna avatars. One is Narasimha avatara, one is Rama avatara, and the third is Krishna avatara. These three avatars are also the hardest to catch because the complete tattvam, complete paratattvam is present in these three avatars. Now if it's hard to catch, imagine trying to actually express this. Imagine trying to communicate about this avatar to other beings. They're so hard to catch that even when that avatar has taken a form as it did last night, when that avatar was standing in front of his mother and she tried to tie him up to a stone behind her, she was not able to. And every time she tried, the rope that she was holding, Yashoda was holding, that rope was exactly 2 fingers space short. No matter what she did, she kept thinking, I am tying my child. There are two problematic words there, I and my. It is only when that I and the my went that Yashoda was able to finally catch him. So when you take this idea that with Paramatma there is no I and my, it is Valmiki and Vyasa who completely dissolved themselves into the spirit of the epics that they wrote. And when we understand that, we will be able to see their works from a whole new angle, beyond, inclusive, but also beyond the scope of just great literature. So with that, I invite you to take that journey. This is just a scratch on the surface. I do not claim to be an expert on either of these epics, but it is absolute awe for the rishis, and it is for respect for their work that makes me sit here and speak today. So the very first beautiful layering starts when the context of the epics. If you look at the Bhagavatam, it is 12 skandams or 12 cantos long. The heart of the Bhagavad Purana as we all know it is the Dashama Skandam. That is where Krishna arrives. If you take the Ramayana, one cannot say that this specific part is the heart because it is spread so expansively beautiful. But there is one huge condition that differentiates the Ramayana and the Bhagavatam. Krishna Katha is found in both places. It is found in Bhagavatam and Bharatam. Krishna's Katha extends across two of the Itihasas. What is beautiful is the comparison or the way in which these rishis, they engage with these epics as if these epics are liquids. There is some beautiful literature that we just touch upon just to see how is the Bharatam. So the Bharatam and Bhagavatam together are referred to in this particular prose. When the Bharatam is dense, Krishna Katha, Krishna is such a dense, viscous guy, he's very difficult. In Telugu we have a word called jiddu. He is that oily substance that once he gets onto your hands, he won't go. Whereas Rama's Charitam is compared to that of a Sagaram that one cannot have enough of. So that is why it is said about Valmiki, Yappiba Satatam Rama Charitamrata Sagaram. He is constantly drinking the Charita of Rama Sagara. Still Valmiki is not appeased enough. Atriptastam Munim Vande. He is the son of Prachetasam and he has absolutely no kalmasham. Prachetasam akalmasham. In the case of Vyasa, the stotra addressing Vyasa is Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe. He who had a wide, expansive intellect. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe, Ullara Vindayata Patranetraha, Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha. He took the oil of Bharata, Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha, Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha, and he lit the lamp of knowledge. The idea is not that he did this long ago somewhere. The idea that this should happen within us, whether it is drinking from Rama's Charitamrita Sagaram or it is lighting the knowledge of Krishna through the oil that is the Bhagavatam and the Bharatam. So with that idea, we look at the very first context of one similarity and one beautiful difference between the two. In the case of the Ramayana, there is a big condition. The condition that comes out actually gets revealed only in the Uttarakanda. There Rama asks Agastya and other rishis, tell me about the origin of Ravana. At that point, he is told that Ravana had a condition. Ravana's condition was not that no man should kill me. Ravana's condition was, I do not believe that men are worthy of killing me, so I will ask for immortality from everybody except this. So that is the condition that Brahma then honors and gives Ravana this varam. What is beautiful is, Valmiki honors this condition throughout the epic. Not once up till the death of Ravana, that is the clause, up till the death of Ravana, not once does Valmiki reveal who Rama is. This is also a beautiful storytelling format as well that he is following, because Rama is following his dharma, Narayana is following the dharma, that Ravana has asked for a condition, that condition must be met. Whenever a bhakta, Ravana is also a bhakta, if we have time in the question answer session, we'll explore that later. But that bhakta's condition must be met. So Ravana's condition has to be met, that a man, it is only at the hands of a man that he will go. So Rama is treated as a man throughout the entire epic. But, as we just said, the one who is writing about Rama, he is in such a state of joy when he writes that everywhere else he doesn't even touch the word Vishnu. You will not see the word Vishnu coming in anywhere. But when he talks about Rama's birth, he is unable to contain that joy. That is the only place that comes in the Balakanda with the exact verse going that describes how he was born to Kausalya. Before, if you look at the placement of the words itself, you can make out that Valmiki is in a state of ecstasy. Because he is not saying Rama was born to Kausalya. He is saying Prodhyamane Jagannatham, the Lord of the words, Prodhyamane Jagannatham. Who is that Lord worshipped by? Sarvaloka Namaskritam, Kausalya Janayat Ramam, Sarvalakshana Samyutam, Vishnurardham Mahabhagam, Putram Ekshvaku Vardhanam. The entire sequencing of the Ramayana is right there. Vishnurardham Mahabhagam, the greatest part of Vishnu himself, Putram, he was born as the son in the line of Ikshvaku. Putram Ekshvaku Nandanam, Lohitaksham Mahabahum, and then the entire description of Rama comes here. But this aspect Valmiki could not contain. If you look, even historically, the Bharatam comes later, so Vyasa himself credits Valmiki on so many occasions. And that joy that Valmiki experienced when Rama was born, Vyasa experienced in equal measure when Krishna was born. The only difference here is that Krishna did not have a condition. There was not one Rakshasa who said that he must come like this, he should not come at day, at night, etc. etc. There were no designer Rakshasas there. That was only Hiranyakashipu. So in the case of Krishna Avataram, if you see throughout the Avataram also, when he wants, how he wants, he showcases his divinity because there is nothing that's holding him back. But in the case of Vyasa, when he has to describe that, there is also one rahasyam that Vyasa puts here. We are all familiar with this slokam. We will use this slokam to understand the rahasyam that Vyasa reveals in another Purana. The slokam starts with Tam Adbhutam Balakam Ambujekshanam. This is a very famous slokam that several of you would know. This slokam describes how this boy was so extraordinary that as soon as he was born, Vasudeva and Devaki had the darshanam of this boy with the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma and with the Srivatsa Lakshmam, all of these Divya Gunas, which are of course completely attributed to Narayana. But Vyasa's joy is not only this. He's explaining the other story of Krishna's Rahasyam or Krishna's Avatara Gatham, which is very appropriately coming out for us on Rohini Nakshatram today. We are all familiar, we just also clarified that Krishna is considered to be a Purnavatara. There is a specific reason why Krishna is called a Purnavatara is because Paramatma splits into two forms. One form becomes Chaturabhuja with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma and goes and eternally resides in Vaikuntha as Vishnu. The other form just takes on Dvibhuja with the Venu in his hand and goes to Goloka. These are Shashvata Lokas, not Lokas here on earth, not islands belonging to certain Swamis. These are not contained to these realms. They belong to very different worlds. In the case of all the avatarams that the Bhagavatam lists out, not just the Dashavatārams, in all the avatarams, it is Vaikuntapati Vishnu who comes, even in Rama Avataram. In Krishna Avataram, something very beautiful happens. This is the only avataram where Vaikuntapati Vishnu and Goloka Krishna descend together onto earth. Now everyone is wondering, what is this guy giving me all kinds of reel? I have never heard of Krishna Avataram. There are no two Krishnas. There is only one Krishna. But both those Krishnas are born at the same time. So what happens is, here on this side of the Yamuna, in Mathura, to Vasudeva and Devaki is born Vaikuntapati Vishnu. On the other side, Dvibhuja Krishna comes as a beam of light. He comes along with Yogamaya. Nobody even notices when Yashoda gives birth to Yogamaya, she does not even notice that there is a beam of light. Then the known part of the story is that Vasudeva takes this boy from across this side. As soon as he takes this boy and he puts him into the cradle, the beam of light that nobody noticed, and Yashoda is exhausted and asleep when Vasudeva comes, that beam of light merges into this boy. So Vaikuntapati Vishnu and Dvibhuja Krishna from Goloka, they come together, and that is the Avatara Rahasyam that comes out there. So when he says Tam Adbhutam Balakam, Vyasa referring to this episode saying, this boy is extraordinary because this Avataram is extraordinary. He's already bringing out that comes out through his ecstasy. We will also later take those three words, Tam Adbhutam Balakam, and explore an entire Vedantic treatise through that if time permits. From there we go into the beautiful idea of how throughout the epic, Rama and Krishna, no matter how much they try and conceal themselves, Krishna doesn't try to conceal himself at all. From the time of his arrival only when Adisesha will not come and become an umbrella for a human being. He will only come for Narayana himself. So his divinity is not concealed, and there is no requirement to conceal his divinity. But in the case of Rama Avataram, there is a huge requirement to conceal the divinity, number one. And the beauty of Rama, there is this very big misconception, almost cute, that says Ramudu Manchi Baludu, etc., things like this. And Krishna is the prankster, but actually the reverse is true. Because Rama was the greatest actor throughout the epic. Because not once does he give away his Divyatva. There is a moment in the Yuddha Kanda when all of the entire Vanara Sena, they are bound together by Sarpastras. When they are bound like that, at that point, Garuda comes. But first of all, something to think about. Why will Garuda come between a fight between two mortals or between a mortal and a Rakshasa? Already Garuda has come. Something is being indicated here. Now Garuda comes, he relieves, because Garuda's pradhana, something that he offers as his seva is, he removes Sarpa Dosham, or he removes Sarpa Visham, the poison of serpents. He removes it, the entire Vanara Sena is, they're all okay. At that point, Rama immediately notices from the corner of his eye, this is described in another regional version of the Ramayana, where Rama notices from the corner of his eye that Garuda is starting to notice Rama. Garuda is trying for Rama's attention, and there's a problem. If Garuda sees his Swami anywhere, he will do a Sashtanga Namaskaram, he will say, it's been so long since I have seen you in Vaikuntha, etc., etc. The war is not over. So before he can do anything else, Rama turns, looks at Garuda and he says, what is this big frightening bird? Who called it? Send it away, send it away, send it away. Pretending that he had absolutely no idea as to who that bird was. There are several such sanketas that come out in terms of the oozing of Rama's divinity. But one very beautiful one that gives out, where again Valmiki doesn't contain it, but he doesn't reveal it. This is where Valmiki becomes a master storyteller. Because he's trying to take a plot, but at the same time he's also saying, look beyond the plot of the story. Look for the divine aspects in the story will start speaking in very different ways. When they are in their Vanavasam, when Rama and Sita are in their Vanavasam, when they are going to Sharabhanga's ashrama, two beautiful scenes we will take from that. Outside the ashramam, Rama taps Lakshmana and he says, remember when we went to Veda Gurukula, we learned about the different rathas of different devatas. That was in our syllabus back then. Look at this ratha here. This belongs to Indra. And this is what happens outside. So Rama wants to rush inside because he knows Indra has come to meet Sharabhanga. Inside, Indra is sitting and he tells Sharabhanga, I can hear footsteps approaching, I'm not going to sit here anymore because Rama is coming. He expands that then saying, I should not see him now, I will only see him when the karyam of the avataram is over. From here we are left to infer as to why does Indra not want to see him. If we take this and make it, there are negative commentaries in the Ramayana as well, right? Ramayana, Vishavriksham, etc. Then here we will say, yes, Indra is this dated to this time period, Rama is dated to this time period, so they don't get along. So therefore then somebody will write a huge treatise on this and we will all read it thinking this to be the supreme truth. Indra not seeing Rama is indicative that Rama is Mahavishnu. When Indra goes in front of Mahavishnu, there is a hierarchy, there is a gradient there. Indra should do a namaskaram. Indra cannot do that namaskaram because the condition will come out that it is Rama Avataram. So this, that it is Vishnu's complete tattva. So this idea keeps playing itself out as to where is the divinity coming from and how should the divinity be concealed and at the same time celebrated. Vyasa takes interpretations from this and Vyasa's interpretations of how to express divinity, they start to create a ripple effect. Just like you drop something into water and that's how ripples get created. One Vyasa's Bharatam, one Vyasa's Bhagavatam, how many Bhagavatams it goes on to inspire? Vyasa's inspiration himself is Valmiki. Take the previous slogan that we took, Tam Adbhutam Balakam. It ends with the words, Pitambaram Sandra Payodha Saubhagam. Pitambaram, he is wearing yellow, beautiful silken yellow robes. That's how we know Krishna to be dressing. But the heart is in the word Sandra Payodha Saubhagam. He looks like a dark rain cloud. If it were an ordinary poet, they would have said dark rain cloud. It is Vyasa. Every word is a mantra, every word is potent. Sandra, if it rings a bell for some of you familiar with Krishna's other works, there was one bhakta who took this one word, Sandra, and started his epic, which is also completely inspired by Vyasa's Bhagavatam. Everything to do with Bhagavan is called Bhagavatam, everything to do with Narayana is called Narayaniyam. That word, Sandra, becomes the starting point for Narayana Bhattatri's epic on Krishna, which starts with the word Sandra Ananda, Sandra Ananda. That itself is indicative of what Paratattvam is. So here Vyasa is talking about a situation that he is looking like a dense rain cloud. There Narayana Bhattatri takes that same word and says he is undiluted, absolutely concentrated bliss. So on one hand there is a story happening, yes, he has to kill Kamsa, all of those things are there. Those are all avatar prayojanams. But Valmiki and Vyasa's Hridayam is not just to tell you a great story and leave it. The idea is take the same story for across different stages of your life. When you're a child, don't try and explain the meaning of Sandra to them. Tell them a great story. But as you mature, take the same verses, they'll have something else altogether for you. So that is the idea that starts getting communicated through the divinity of Paramatma, which becomes a big focus point for all of the Bharatams. Especially in Andhra, when the Bharatam and Bhagavatam, this is something Anupamaka and I were talking about, what a powerful Bhagavatam it is, because that reveals to us, through padyams, through ordinary, I will even say colloquial. I cannot say colloquial because such Telugu is no longer colloquial, but through language that reaches everybody, it reveals to us what is the idea of Paramatma. What Narayana Bhattatri there has said as Sandra Ananda, the case of Gajendra, if we take it from the Bharatam and Bhagavatam, we all know Gajendra's story. We all know it in a 2-second story. Gajendra struggles with crocodile, picks up lotus, says, Oh Vishnu. What we will all remember is not this. We will remember that Vishnu left without telling Lakshmi, oh, ho, 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 ho. Then this will become some movie title, etc., etc. But the point of the story is not this. Firstly, Gajendra does not ask for Raksha. The Bharatam and Bhagavatam puts Gajendra's padyam so beautifully when Gajendra says, in he whom the worlds get created, in he who sustains the worlds, he who destroys and dissolves those worlds, to he who has absolutely no beginning, no end, no middle, to him who is Ishvara. The definition of Ishvara is in this padyam. To him I surrender my all. Where is the mention of Vishnu? There is no mention of Vishnu. This is Potana's Chamatkara. That he is taking that idea that Gajendra moves from Artha Bhakti. Artha is that state of desperation, of distress, which Draupadi expressed as well. He goes from there into saying, everything is residing in you, everything is you, I am surrendering to you. Where is the mention of crocodile? Where is the mention of asking for help? Nothing. This moves Gajendra from Artha Bhakti to Jnana Bhakti. That Jnana Bhakti Potana celebrated. Your source for all of this is one Vyasa Bharatam, one Vyasa Bhagavatam. That is the idea of the ripple effect that gets created by phenomenal mantra drashtas such as rishis like this. When you take this particular aspect of divinity, it also comes out in terms of the strategy. If you look at the strategy that Krishna used, it is phenomenal. In the Bharatam, there is when Krishna comes to do the peacemaking, comes as a Shantiduta, although that's not his intention, he doesn't really want to do it, but he goes because it is dharma. And he does it fully, he does not go there and simply light a matchstick and come. He tries fully to do his best, knowing fully well that the buddhi of the Kauravas is aligned in a certain way. We all believe that Karna is that one downtrodden, very sad hero of the Mahabharata who is eternally ignored. But if you look at the conversation that happens between Krishna and Karna, it reveals Krishna's strategy in entirety. At that point, what happens so Krishna comes on a certain day, that evening he goes to talk to Duryodhana. The next morning is when he has to leave back. And he has gotten very clear instructions that there is not going to be any Shanti offering from the Kauravas. That morning before he leaves, he calls Karna. And he says, come and sit with me. Karna and Krishna go and sit. It's a very beautiful scene. They're both sitting at the base of a Koneru, at the banks of a Koneru, a river or a water body, I don't know what it is in English. And when they're doing that, Krishna tells Karna, you know who you really are? You're the son of Kunti. So now, I am placing the choice in your hands. And he tells him the entire story of Karna's Jananam there. Karna finds this out now. He does not find out a night before. He was not tricked into this by anybody. He finds this entire thing out. He listens to Vasudeva in detail. And Krishna says, I'm giving you a choice. Do you want to join this side now? Karna responds saying, are you giving me a choice or are you giving me an illusion of a choice? Karna then repeats to Krishna saying, this strategy was in your hands to align. Karna's moment of awakening is here. After this, Karna's behavior, he's still committed to the Kauravas. That has a reason behind that. Because he owes it to them. There is a debt that he has to clear. But he makes Vasudeva's strategy known to the world, saying, you did this because you wanted to align all the negative forces. And Duryodhana is a force with only brawn. He has no brain. So you put me there. You took me with all my sharpened intellect and put me on that side. So I used my intellect for all those negatives that built up more forces on that side. You look at Karna's entire life. Vyasa will tell you in how many instances Duryodhana has absolute let's beat him up, let's kill him up. Only 2 words he knows. It is Karna who says, why not bring her here to the Sabha? At that point, there are 2 Rakshasas predominantly who are bothering Vishwamitra, Maricha and Subahu. Now, Rama's job is to do Ramanamam Yajna Rakshanam Lakshanam Annamacharya has said that the predominant purpose of Ramanamam, that entire avatar is to do Yajna Rakshanam. That is another rahasyam, and if time permits later we will see that. But when he has to do this, he is fighting with Maricha and Subahu, 2 Rakshasas, 1 person who is fighting. What is the fair way of doing things? He has to punish them both equally. But does he do that? Subahu gets killed. Maricha? He doesn't get killed. Rama shoots him with an arrow much down south. Rama's strategy here is when you find out. Valmiki can't keep it to himself. 2 people, 2 wrongdoers, same offense. Why are they getting treated in 2 different ways? Because Rama knows that 1 person, his job was only till here in the story. The other one is going to be required for the later story, who will play a very important part, Kanakamriga Rupadhara, Khalamaricha. That Maricha has to become the Kanakamriga, the golden deer. So therefore, let me go and let me place him there. This is Rama's strategy. So Rama is not some linear person who is just doing as told. Rama is also thinking of the Avatarya Karyam and what has to happen further on. So this is with respect to their strategy. So when you start to open out, you will start to see that both the epics are flooded with all of these ideas parallelly happening. But the heart of it, coming back to it, the pure, undiluted heart, is that Vyasa and Valmiki both are communicating that this is Paramatma. Now, there is a certain process in communicating that this is Paramatma. Simply repeating Paramatma across, this idea of Vedanta is an abstract science. It is difficult for the mind to grasp. And Valmiki's Hridayam, Vyasa's Hridayam, is that this should reach everybody. It is not that it should be restricted and this story must not go. That is the greatness of Ramayana and Bharatam and Bhagavatam, that they continue to be flowing across the blood and the veins of this country. Constantly, how many versions? The point is, we get sucked into wondering, but in the Bharatam, one is coming like this, Bharatam Valos. That's not the point. The point is that there are interpretations after interpretations, but the heart of them is that this has reached everywhere. So if you take all these ideas, but hold on to that one pivotal idea that they still want to communicate to you, the most important aspect, that this is Paramatma. When you have to describe that abstract idea of Paramatma,
How do you do it in a story? You do it through words. As much as Paramatma is not graspable through words, for us to go closer to that tattva, we have only words because we live in a prapancham full of shabda. So there are words that Valmiki and Vyasa use which are identical, which communicate the same bhava. And one cannot ignore such huge connections and would not be doing justice to a topic like this if we didn't take two such sets of words. So let's look first at Valmiki because he is the Adi Kavi. In the moment of Sita Kalyana, when Sita is brought, of course in today's world, Kanyadanam is a bad word, so I will get shot for saying it. But Janaka does not have these kind of ridiculous reservations. He very happily performs his daughter's Kanyadanam. And when Janaka gives her hand in marriage to Rama, there he puts out Paramatma Tattvam comes in 3 words. Iyam, Sita, Mama Sutta. Their slokam is very long, very, very beautiful. But that sequencing is what we will observe for a few minutes. Iyam, Sita, Mama Sutta. How does someone introduce their own child? Ideally, my child is Sita, right? That's how it should begin. But that's not what he says. Iyam, she. Iyam is a word used to describe something which is indescribable when it is standing in front of us. I will repeat that. Iyam is a word that is used to describe something indescribable when it is standing in front of us. Let's just decode that sentence. I'm lucky I got the second slot because nobody's sleepy yet, so I'm going to make you join this journey with me. Something undescribable. Vedas talk about Paratattvam. They talk about the idea of the absolute supreme truth, Brahman. But if you ask Veda, what is Parabrahma? It will say, I'll tell you what Parabrahma is not, but I cannot tell you what Parabrahma is. So when Vedam hesitates to use a word, it uses one word. It uses the word Tat. This, if you also lyrically explore this, the idea of that. In English also, when you struggle to say something that. In Sanskritam, it is called Tat when it is far away. When it comes closer, it becomes Iti. When Iti, again, it is still indescribable. When Iti takes a female form, it is called Iyam. Iyam cha Shrehi, Shankaracharya also said in Saundara. This Iyam is the first word Janaka uses. Why? He is acknowledging she was not born through human birth. This is Jagannatha, this is complete Paramatma Shakti, Paramatma's Ichha, Jnana and Kriya Shakti are standing here. Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. It's not Iyam Mama Sutta Sita. Pay attention to that sequencing. Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. Why? Because Sita, if beyond the name or inclusive of the name, is a phenomenal concept. There is absolutely no other avataram where an entire Upanishad is named after her. It's called Sita Upanishad. So if you dig from meanings of Sita Upanishad and you take the word Sita, amongst multiple meanings, one of the interpretations of Sita is the word given to the furrow. I don't know if furrow is the right translation and you should forgive me, but I know it only in Telugu as Nageti Chalu, which is the sharp tip of the ploughing instrument that is used to plough the ground. Because she was found when in the ground, she was found in the Bhugarbham, Bhugarbhajata, Bhuvanaika Mata. In Bhugarbham, when she was found because of that tip. That tip is what hit the casket and that's how Janaka found her. So that idea of sharpness, Brahma Vidya is absolute sharpness, the ability to be able to discriminate and distinguish, not discriminate in a negative way, but to distinguish saying, this is unreal, this is real. This is called Viveka, that ability to be able to distinguish. That is Sita, that is Parabrahma's blessing. Sita is that quality throughout the Ramayana as well. So if you take that idea, that indescribable Paramatma, Iyam, Sita, which is extremely sharp because she is Brahma Vidya, is born to be Mama Sutta. That is what he is already telling Rama, saying this is the supreme most Shakti that exists in 3 words. I am placing her in your hands. You will have auspiciousness if you take her with you, so take her hand. Because he uses that word Bhadra there, that is why Rama earns the name Rama Bhadra. Because he takes Sita's hand, he will be safe. That is what is indicated there. But it is such a beautiful idea. You take, again, Vyasa, 3 words that I promised we will touch upon. Again, Tam, Adbhutam, Balam. Now take all of this Nirvighnam that we just explained. Tam. Tat is when it has no gender. Tam is when it is a masculine gender. Tam. Adbhutam, extraordinary. That extraordinary Paratattvam that cannot be described through words is here as a Balaka. Tam, Adbhutam, Balakam. So you take Valmiki, Vyasa, they are saying the same things. They are saying, look at the Paratattvam here. As fascinating as his Leelas are, find the Paramartham in the Leela, then the Leela will take you somewhere else. These were not meant to be entertaining stories. They can be at some level and they will serve that purpose eternally because they are action-packed. But the Hridayam of Vyasa and the Hridayam Valmiki is to communicate this. The analogy goes beyond this. They are also important to understand that what Paramatma says in one place, Paramatma does in another place. Because he's not a politician that gives empty promises. He will deliver everything that he says. Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana pariyupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Those who think of me eternally, those who surrender themselves to me, their welfare, their constant welfare, that word nitya itself is indicated. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam. He has not said their general welfare with terms and conditions applied, I'll take care of. Tesham nitya abhiyuktanam. Their constant, without 1 second's gap, I will take care of them. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. He said this in the Gita. Where did he do this? He did this in the Yuddha Kanda when Vibhishana comes for Sharanagati. At that point, Rama holds a council, asks all the Vanaras, what do you think I should do? Should I offer him Sharanagati? Offer him Sharanam? At that point, there are multiple opinions, but what we are focusing on here is how Paramatma says and Paramatma does. When he gives Vibhishana Sharanagati, he says, Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti cha yachate. Those who fall at my feet, Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti. Those who believe they are my people. This is what Tyagaraja says, Nivadane kada, I am your person only, no? That closeness. So on one hand, they're thinking about this Tam Adbhutam Balakam, but it can feel like, okay, this is too difficult for me, I don't relate to that. It's okay, I am yours, Nivadane kada. This Sakadeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayachate Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo Dadamyeta Pratamam. Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo. I will give Abhayam to every bhuta that ever existed, that exists and will exist. This is my vrata. Meaning, this is the only commitment that I have. That is what he has said in the Gita, that is what he does. When think about the context, he's offering Vibhishana Sharanagati. He should say, Vibhishana, I have granted you Sharanagati. He said, not just to Vibhishana, anybody who once declares that they are mine, I will take care of them eternally. That bhavam. So if you start to draw the parallels between Bhagavad Gita, between Ramayana and between Bharatam, it becomes one maze of thoughts. But the idea is to move it from the thought space into the heart space and start seeing, can I see these not as isolated epics, but can I start seeing them in union such that they speak to my heart? There is a beautiful story that I think we will conclude with if we have just a minute more. So then we'll elaborate the story. That one Paratattvam is accessed and is engaged with in two different ways. And this was when the Pandavas are in Vanvasa and Arjuna is doing a tapas at that point. So after Arjuna's tapas, he comes to Rameshwara. He has worshipped Shiva there as Rameshwara. He comes to the tip where the Vanaras had built the bridge long ago. So when he stops there at the base, he thinks, saying, Rama himself was a great archer. He could have actually built the entire bridge using arrows. Why did he make all the Vanaras use stones? And he's kind of just wondering to himself, he's sitting around there. And just then, a feeble old monkey comes and he sits. And he looks at him and he says, oh, valiant one, you seem to be thinking about something. What are you thinking of? So Arjuna explains to him that, I was just thinking, how could Rama have built such a... why did he use stones? He could have used arrows. So then the monkey says, you think arrows could have taken those very powerful Vanaras like Angada and all of them? Absolutely not. Arjuna says, no, I'm sure they would have. He said, really? Those arrows can't even take me. I'm an old monkey. What, they would have taken him? So then the monkey very smartly challenges Arjuna to a duel. He's saying, okay, you do one thing. You're such an expert archer, no? Make off a little bridge of arrows. I'll go stand on it. If that sinks, that entire bridge sinks, then I have won. Now Arjuna is one for competition. You just have to say if no, and he will respond to the next criteria. Okay, you will say that this is what's going to happen. If I lose, no, I will jump onto a funeral pile. This is what Arjuna's declaration is. He is very happy. So at this point, this starts. The monkey, Arjuna builds the first bridge, is very confident that he can do it with arrows. The monkey sets stage, saying Jai Shri Rama. Absolutely, in 1 second, the entire bridge is collapsed. Arjuna said, that was trial round, let's do it again. So they do a best of 3. 2 out of 3 times, the monkey steps on saying Jai Shri Rama. Arjuna believes in his own power to be able to construct the bridge. Both times it falls. Arjuna is ready to get into the fire. Arjuna is a man of his word whenever he has to. So he's about to, and just then somebody walks past them saying, what's happening? What is this fire? What is this monkey? Who are you? So the whole story is told to him. He said, look, you both took a competition, but you need to have a neutral judge. So I'll be a neutral judge. This time you build that bridge, this time I'll watch. So Arjuna is very hesitant, but this guy is insisted. So he said, okay. Arjuna rebuilds that entire bridge, this time saying Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, and he builds the bridge. The monkey, meanwhile, just jumps on the bridge saying, third time lucky for me, and this time the bridge does not collapse. So the monkey is a little surprised, and he tries to push the bridge down. Nothing happens. Then he looks at his costume and realized, okay, I don't need to be this old monkey anymore. He turns into his Divya Sarupam, which is Kanchanadri Kamaniya Vigraham, Parijata Taramula Vasinam, Bhavayami Pavamananandanam. He becomes Hanuman as he is and tries to push. Still nothing happens. At this point, two people are wondering what's happening. Hanuman is wondering, why is this not going down? And meanwhile, Arjuna is wondering, why is this not going down? Past 2 times it went down, why didn't it go? At that point, they look at the source of the entire miracle that just happened. Arjuna screams Krishna, Hanuman screams Rama, and through that Ram Krishna Tattvam reveals itself based on the Bhakta, based on one's Ishtadevata, whichever Tattvam it is that has to speak to us, whether it is Valmiki's Rama or Vyasa's Krishna, they will eternally be available to the heart space as long as we choose to engage with them. With this, offering this to the feet.
For giving us the taste of Ramacharitamrita Sagaram and of Valmiki's Rama and Tamadbhutam Krishna of Vyasa's Krishna through your Nirvighnam Kadhavahini.